Taeyong again from Seoul. This morning was our tour with Klook for a day trip to the DMZ. We were picked up about 8 a.m. from our hotel together with another passenger to the bus's starting point near Hornet Uni Station. If yesterday was rainy and gloomy, today it'll be storming. Oh, I promise you, it's coming. Anyway, thankfully the DMZ region we were headed to doesn't seem to be affected. Red bus? Okay. This busload of tourists, interestingly, were waiting from earlier this morning at 6:30 a.m., the very slot we opted not to take. While we got in some beauty sleep, they didn't. But we still ended up on the same bus. Poor people. So note that on the Klook booking for the DMZ tour, while you're given a choice of an early or late morning slot, they'll still contact you to say that they need to pick you up at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. Reason being that these tour guides are trying to get their groups in before everyone else, as the slots are on a first-come, first-served basis. So they really shouldn't even offer the late morning slot as an option. The drive time to the Imjingak tourist site was approximately 50 minutes. For this tour, they will need to collect your physical original passports. They do this before arriving because they need to develop an exact listing of people entering the DMZ. This is not just for tickets, it is also because the South Korean soldiers will conduct checks at the border before the tour group enters the DMZ.
Okay, I'll be in a few minutes, okay?
Despite the strong winds and rain, this place was packed with other tourists who decided to chance it and brave the weather. Besides touristy Namsan Tower, this is probably the second touristy place we've seen with that many foreigners in one location. We were worried about whether or not our passports would be returned to us, but they did give it back before the border check, which makes sense.
There's nothing much you can see.
There was nothing much you could do at Imjingak's outdoor spaces, which featured its own mini theme park. Our host did his best with the tour despite the weather.
And for me, I finished like 2 years. If the soldiers come in, you can check. So you can find their level from the hat. Here, I'm pretty much sure like 2-6, that guy will come here. Because for 2-6 and 3-6, they are really good workers. So 4-6, they will just stay there and then you go. Here, demilitarized zone here. Basically, human cannot reach it for over 50 years, 1950. After that, over 50 years, nobody come here. At the last place, it's called the Unification Village. There, you can just look the products from this village. And this place has a reputation for soybean. I don't like soybean, but soybean very healthy food, and also the ginseng.
If you're wondering why we're back at Imjingak, it's because the tour is over. Okay, I'm kidding. There was a mistake on the name list for our group, so the entire busload of people had to return for the correction to be done. We were told afterwards that it was the office who made an incorrect photocopy.
So anyone has a claustrophobia here? Like hard claustrophobia? Or back pain? Like hard back pain? Can you see the bridge? The destroyed bridge on the left side? Quarantine, some other things. So we will go straight and turn right to the tunnel. They wanted to attack South Korea, just still so far. So they made tunnel to sneak inside to South Korea. We found 4 tunnels, but for this third tunnel, that time it was so close. From here to Seoul, it just take 1 hour. There was a defector from North Korea, and he was a planner of the tunnel. So he just came to South Korea and he talked to us. They're now digging the tunnel now. So please, you have to find them. After that, we try to find that tunnel, so we make many holes from the ground. And finally, we found the tunnel. Basically, we can go to the MDA line, military demarcation line. It's a real border, but they just blocked in the middle because just in case.
Here we are about to visit the third infiltration tunnel. At this point, we're not allowed to bring in cameras, so I'll explain using this pictorial diagram. We will walk down a 358-meter slope to the bottom. After this is a low-ceiling infiltration tunnel all the way to the third blockade where nobody can proceed any further. However, at this blockade, tourists should just be able to make out the first blockade. Beyond this is the military demarcation line and the rest of the tunnel into North Korea. Chip and I only did the decline before we returned the same way. This is because the low-ceiling infiltration tunnel, which I suppose was built for North Korean heights, was too low, even for my height at 165 cm. You'll need to walk bending over, which was very uncomfortable if there was a long way to go. If you're child size, it should be fun. But for Texas-sized Oppa, it's not. The climb back up is a little taxing as you do experience pressure change. However, there is one set of seats somewhere at the midpoint. We were taken to another exhibit detailing more history about the 4 infiltration tunnels that were found, as well as the events surrounding the DMZ.
These are all information about first, second, and third tunnels.
Unfortunately, we couldn't stay there for long as they soon rushed us to the projection hall for a short video.
DMZ in the world. Half a century after the division, the wind of the reunification comes blowing.
Here we are at the Observatory. Since the weather was stormy, it was a little difficult to locate certain features of the DMZ, but the 2 features we could just make out were the North Korean flag and the South Korean flag on the nearer side. Our guide told us a funny story where there was an interval in which the 2 nations went back and forth on raising the height of their respective flagpoles in an attempt to one-up the other one. But South Korea decided to stop playing that game, and as a result, the North Korean flagpole today remains the taller one.
Around the 5 o'clock.
Best time communicate. And also, even in 2017, one defector came to Korea, and he was like a middle high level of the military, but one of his friend's wife, she was in a hurry because of the baby, because she was pregnant. So he drive the car to the hospital for his wife, but after that he drank with other friends, and then he come back to the military, but he got caught drink driving. So he had no choice because in North Korea it is very strict. So he was afraid to die. So he just drive to the Panmunjom area directly, and then his car was in the drain. After that, he escaped the car and then tried to run to the Panmunjom area, and behind them, North Korean followed him and shoot him.
At this point, rewatching these clips of our guide as he told us story after story of ideological differences between North and South Korea, one just can't help but appreciate what a tour like this could do in widening your perspectives about the world around. For a more heartwarming depiction of North Korea versus South Korea, I would recommend watching the Korean drama Crash Landing on You, which tells the love story of a rich South Korean heiress and a North Korean military commander.
For the reunification, we have to think about the gap. For young generation, if we make the one country, we have to pay tax more, a lot. For young generation, they don't want reunification. It is very complicated, and maybe in my life, I can't see the one country. They didn't have any choice. They was just there, and they still stay there. So, like one.
On a side note, if you like the flavors of matcha and red bean, you might want to try their soybean paste ice cream, which tasted like a cross between the two.
Because on the left side there is a US embassy. that is the statue of King Sejong. So we would say the greatest person in our history. Two persons. The first one is King Sejong, and the other one is Admiral Lee, and he is there.
For our late lunch stop, I wanted us to have Korean fried chicken at the barbecue chicken brunch that apparently was the filming location for Crash Landing on You. However, I misread the opening hours of this place, so we settled for another nearby restaurant of the same chain as our favorite Korean barbecue at home in the Greater KL. Our experience was mixed. Their meat cuts were much thicker, so we had a hard time getting it to cook, since we were seated near the door in order to get some of that cold air during these cool months. You know, cause they don't turn on their AC. Okay, I promise that's the last time you hear me say that. Their kimchi still looked and tasted more like a kimchi stir-fry. But I did enjoy their kimchi maliguksu with unlimited servings of seaweed. Did you want to try some?
No, is that going to be all you can eat? It's a lot of nibble.
I won't eat all of it.
That one, egg you can eat. Egg you can eat.
Share so far. Last night in Seoul.
At the hotel.
At the hotel. Last view of the city. I'm gonna miss those buses. Our taxi ride back to Incheon Airport was arranged by the hotel staff, and just in case something should happen, they wrote the car number on this little handy-dandy hotel note. Otherwise, it was an uneventful ride. Mr. Driver Ajusi mindfully made good speed as we watched the last scenes of Seoul unfold before us.
그냥 웃음만 짓게 돼. Don't know what to say. You were just like one spring day. 설레임을 주는 걸 언젠가부터였을까. 기다림의 끝에 너를 만났고 모든 게 새로 느껴져. Something in my heart. 네 맘 전하고 싶어. When you ring my valentine, Sunny day you make my dream come true. 행복한 너 그리고 나 우릴 비추고 With you by my side 멈춘 시간 속 서로가 마주하는 이곳 I can see you through a little far away.
The total car bill came up to about 56,000 Korean won. Mr. Driver Ajusi was so helpful, we left him an additional tip so that he would have a nice bowl of seolongtang for lunch today. Oh, if you're wondering how much our public transport cost is for the two of us, this free app BookaCheck says that I spent 13,200 Korean won and Chip spent 11,950 won. The rest were miscellaneous stuff purchased from the convenience store, which is a useful way of using up their T-money balance before you return home. If you didn't manage to get the card balance refunded, it just means that it gives you yet another reason to return to South Korea. And we made sure that we saved our won. A perk of being Silver and Rich members meant that we could skip the lines when checking into flights on the One World airline network. Passport control was also very straightforward, as the airport had e-gates that could process some foreign passports. The airport even had these talking robots.
Please say AirStar or touch the screen.
Now if you hug someone, maybe the robot might do this.
나의 품에 가득 안고 고백할 거야.
The food courts were located upstairs, where I had the chance of ordering jjajangmyeon, which I know the airport is not the place I should be trying this out, but having this one dish featured repeatedly in just about every other Korean drama meant that I just had to. Oh, Chip had a Stella. Nah, surprisingly he got spaghetti from another restaurant we were in.
Everything is so right. 서로가 마주하는 이곳. We've been waiting for a love like this, my love. Yeah, down. Oh, no, no.
So here we are at the end of our trip in Seoul. There's definitely more of the city that remains to be seen, not to mention other parts of South Korea that we would like to visit. After seeing and experiencing firsthand this country's capital city and where it is today, risen from the ashes of its afflicted past, I dare say it's the spirit of this country's nation that we will remember best and continue to admire. Here we would like to take the opportunity to thank these individuals whom we've had the pleasure of interacting with, even if for a short while. These people will not capture in our videos, but we will remember them fondly for the help and kindness they've shown us as we journeyed around Seoul. And of course, thank you to you for staying with us this far. With Chip and Eddie, have a blessed day.
Winds southerly at about 15 to 25 miles an hour. Barometric pressure 30.0.
Tastes a bit processed. Not a bit, very.
Doesn't taste like meat at all.
Cheese steak. Tastes like what kids would like.
It's like what?
Kids. You know, school kids, when they come out from school, they buy stuff like this.
Oh, you're familiar with that?
Not this one. In contrast, this is actually quite good. Tastes almost like Kit Kat.